days, there are one demonstrations after the other, right? We're demonstrating here and we're demonstrating here, and we're fighting in our demonstrations. And I am a demonstrator, so I would like go and like, yay, we advocate, and speak truth to power, and no peace, no justice, no all of these things, and I would do these slogans, and I was an advocate for it. But honestly, a lot of times I felt like I was screaming from my chest to these values that I want to see in the world. But when I stepped back and asked myself, am I implementing these values in myself, in my life? As an activist, I realize not always. That's the truth. Not always. There are times in which I am inconsistent in my life, that I would advocate for these values. I believe I'm implementing these values. But when I dig deeper, I'm not always. And so in order to be truthful in my advocacy for these values and my belief in these values, I needed to understand, where do I own it? Where do I not own it? Where I have been complicit in it? Where I have been complacent in it? Where have I been consistent and not consistent in it? And when I took each value within myself, whether it is women's rights, whether freedom, whether it's forgiveness, whether it is generosity, whether it's cruelty, whatever value that I was advocating for or am against, once I understood it in myself, I understood that it's hard, actually. That it's one thing to say it, it's quite another thing to implement it fully and consistency in your life. It's really, really hard, if not in yourself, then in your environment, in your community, in your family. And yet it is possible. Yet we choose we can have the choice to live in our values. And it comes with a sacrifice, frankly. Sometimes societies judge you. Sometimes your friends judge you for living in your values because, you're not doing this or you're not doing that. And that's such a bummer, but you still have to confront where you are inconsistent. And when you confront it, and when you own the part that you're consistent or inconsistent, the advocacy itself becomes coming out of the spine, out of clarity. That it is hard, that I'm not always consistent, that I've failed myself in some times, and I still believe in that value. And it is still, I believe, the right way to go. And we still need to engage, and how can I convince more people to understand it? But before, it used to be shouting at it from my chest, and now, but without understanding how it applies to people's lives or to my life. And now it's grounded in my spine, and that means I am not only telling you we should do that, but I'm telling you it is hard to do that, and I'm not always able to do that, but I still try to always do that, and I still believe in that value, even though it is not always easy to get at it. And so it becomes more grounded discussion and based on our spine rather than just screaming at it.